Hey guys, welcome back to Rooted Homeschool. I'm so glad you're here. If you're new here, I'm a homeschool mom of 5, ages 1 to 13. So I really love to share activities with you guys that I'm able to do with all of my children and that work for multiple ages because I pretty much have a child in every stage of childhood. So today I'm sharing with you this really fun activity that we did a couple of weeks ago. I haven't had a chance to film it for you guys, so I wanted to take a moment and do it while I had a free moment. It's been a crazy couple of weeks around here. A lot of it really awesome, a lot of it really crazy with 2 teething babies, one who's 1 year old, one who's 2. He's still my baby, even though I know he's 2 years old. Anyhow, so when I first started homeschooling, I was very follow the curriculum, follow the guidelines. I did pick an amazing curriculum, which I really love and we still use, Gather Around Homeschool curriculum. I shared about it in my space video, and I'll be sharing about the Ready to Read Burrows and Holes program that I do with my 5-year-old, which we've been loving. And I plan to do future unit plans with Gather Around as well. But one thing I've been really happy about lately is that we've been finding our rhythm and realizing we don't have to do this unit study 5 days a week. Let's start doing it 4 days a week. And then we realized we don't even have to do that. We could do it 2 days a week. So we've actually been doing it a little bit more flexible. We try to make ourselves do it twice a week. We haven't gone below twice a week, but it also makes things really flexible for us to be able to do other things that we're interested in and other things that we've learned that we love and work really well for our family. So this little activity, I'm not even sure where I came up with the idea for it. My aunt actually gave me a bunch of those little bubble vials from her wedding because she knows how many kids I have, obviously. And I was like, what am I gonna do with these? Like, the kids will love bubbles and this is fun, but it's cold out. So somehow I came up with this idea of seeing if bubbles freeze. Well, a simple Google search showed me that it is possible for bubbles to freeze under the right conditions. So it has to be cold enough. And so I was like, well, it's cold in New York, but it's not quite that cold. It said it had to be under 20 degrees, ideally between, I think, 7 and 12 degrees. So super cold. So I will say, if you don't live in a cold climate, A, I'm a little jealous, and B, stay tuned because there are some ideas for how you can do this if it's not cold where you live. Winter in New York is long and cold and dark, let's be honest. So I was really excited to find a fun science activity where my children could get outside, even if it was for a very short period of time, because man was it cold. And this activity, like a lot of the activities that I like to do with them, was a surprise because I like to just kind of keep that wonder and feeling of things are going to be a surprise alive for them. My 5-year-old always asks, what are we doing special today? So that's really cool. And sometimes it's just that we're hanging out on the couch and doing the lesson. It isn't something special every day. So I've been working on learning hand lettering because it was just something that I wanted to try. So I made a cute little sign that said, will the bubbles freeze? And I did put it on my Etsy shop so you can grab this. I had the little bubbles and I have this cool little light bulb lamp thing that I've had for a while. And I thought, what a cool thing for when you're asking them to form a hypothesis, right? So I put these on the table and they were so interested. So they wanted more information. And I said, great, this is how you form a hypothesis. As a scientist, if you are engaging in the scientific process, you have to ask questions, right? So you need more information. I said, so what more information do you need? And they were like, are we doing this outside? And I was like, yes. You guys are gonna make a hypothesis based on this question. You might need to gather a little bit more information. But you're attempting to answer the question, do you think the bubbles will freeze? So what questions do you guys have that you need answered in order to make a hypothesis?
Is it a single bubble or?
So you would get one of these. That's my one answer. What other questions would you need answered? Think about research, a research question. Okay, so you would take the bubbles, you would go outside, you would open it up, and you'd blow it up into the air.
Yeah, and see if it would freeze.
Yep, you'd see if it would freeze. So do you think if you blew these outside, it would freeze?
No.
Gia says no, Justice says no, Jackson? Okay. And they were like, well, how cold out is it? I was like, great. That's the next thing you need to figure out. So they looked up the temperature and they found out that it was 7 degrees outside.
Wait, so what's the temperature outside?
That was the next thing I wanted you to do, so good call. Do you have the weather app on your phone? Mm-hmm. All right, pull up the weather.
Seven degrees out.
So it is currently 7 degrees. 7 degrees. So then you ask yourself, you develop your research question a little bit more. Now, I was excited just because we were doing this little activity. Usually I would be like, oh my gosh. So the question then became, your research question would end up being, do bubbles freeze at 7 degrees? Ooh, do bubbles freeze at 7 degrees? Do bubbles freeze at 7 degrees? What do you think, Gigi?
I don't know.
Okay, now that you know the temperature, does that change your hypothesis at all?
I think that
Hi,
it
Bob.
could just go along its way being a regular bubble,
Okay.
which I don't know about that one.
So they asked a few more questions and they started to come up with ideas about what they think will happen. What do you think about the
I
bubbles?
guess we'll just go 7 seconds.
Okay, so you think that the bubbles will freeze at 7 degrees in 7 seconds. I like this. Bobby, no. You gotta wait till we go outside. All right, so Jackie, I'll be right back.
Stop it, Bob.
So write it down.
My
Jesse.
educated guess is that it either will not blow out the thing, like it
Ooh,
won't blow out
okay.
the thing, or it will just go like a regular bubble.
Okay, so write down your hypothesis. You need something to write with?
No, it doesn't.
I didn't get one yet.
You're next. So what do you think is going to happen? What is your hypothesis?
I think it's either gonna like pop or just float out or freeze.
Okay, can you draw what you think is going to happen? Draw your hypothesis. Seti, be careful. Oh wait. Juju, what do you think is going to happen? Seti, what do you think is going to happen to the bubbles when you go outside?
Freeze.
Don't put it in your mouth, silly. Yucky.
Mom, how do you spell answers? I forget.
Say it again.
How do you spell answers? I forget.
Answers? How do you think?
A
Seti, write down your hypothesis, what you think is going to happen.
AW?
Well, so first we just talked about it, and then I had them write down their hypotheses. Can you explain your hypothesis?
So I think it's either gonna freeze, pop. I did a half so it would pop, and
Okay.
then just float away. So this is the freeze, pop, float away.
Okay, so can you choose either the word bubble or freeze and write it on your paper?
Mom, how do you spell answer?
I'm gonna say
What do you have so far?
I'm gonna write bubble.
So that's the one that you think will freeze, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Bubble.
P-O-P. Good.
P-O-P.
So it was really cool to see them all really excited to write down what they thought would happen. So the next step was to go outside in this 7-degree weather and see if we could get these bubbles to freeze. What'd you say, Gigi?
I'm buff girl.
You're a buff girl?
And I'm pretty warm up.
Good, I'm glad you're warm because it's cold. Do you remember how many degrees out we said? Now, I was not sure this was going to work. I was a little nervous that it was going to be a whole bunch of like hyping something up and it doesn't work. So we go outside and we're blowing the bubbles and they were having so much fun trying to see if one would freeze. And none of them would freeze. You know what did freeze though? My fingertips. So I was like, okay guys, really great job. Let's go inside and warm up and we'll try again a little later. We'll bundle up a little bit better. Well, as soon as my fingers warmed up, I was like, I'm trying this again. It's 7 degrees. These bubbles are supposed to freeze. So I went back outside and this time, because it was a little bit windy, I tried to catch the bubble in order to get it to stay still long enough to freeze, because I think what was happening is it popped before it had the chance to freeze. So I got the bubble to freeze. So I called them outside and they were so excited and thought it was so cool to be able to see this bubble crystallizing, and you can watch it actually form into a frozen bubble.
How's it going?
It froze.
Whoa.
Look at can you see it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Let me get a picture.
So it was a really fun way for them to test out this hypothesis and see if this would work. My 13-year-old, I think, was really surprised. He didn't think that it was going to work. And so it was really cool because I was able to get my 2-year-old, 5-year-old, 9-year-old, and 13-year-old all in on this fun science experiment together, go through the scientific process with something fun and engaging, and get outside for a little fresh air, even if it was 7 degrees. Here's the best part. This little science experiment cost $0 and 0 prep time. So if you have leftover bubbles from the summertime, or the dollar store just happens to have some bubbles in the wintertime, grab some bubbles, grab some scraps of paper, have them write out a hypothesis, make a sign, grab my sign on Etsy, and see if you can get your bubbles to freeze. So it doesn't have to cost money, it doesn't need to be part of a curriculum, and it can definitely be learning. So if you feel like you guys are stuck in a rut, if you guys need a break, if you're having a tough day and it's cold enough outside and you have bubbles hanging around, try this activity out. If you do, let us know in the comments how it goes. Take pictures, share with us on social media. Make sure that you're following us on Instagram for more day-to-day updates and ideas at rooted_homeschool, and on our Facebook page, Rooted Homeschool at Rooted Homeschool Life. I'll put those links in the description.
Ow,
What is it though?
ow, ow,
Can you say bubbles?
ow,
Can you say bubbles?
ow,
Can you say bubbles?
Sethy, what are they?
ow,
But what are they? What is this?
ow,
What's that?
ow,
What
You
is
gotta
that?
say bubbles, babe, for me.
Bubbles.
ow,
Say bubbles.
ow,
Want it
ow,
out?
What do you want out?
Sophie, if you want it out, then you gotta say bubbles.
bubble,
Yay, bubbles! Okay. How do you think you spell pop?
P,
Yeah. Cool. So the answer to the question, will the bubble freeze in 7 degrees, is yes. So for those of you lucky ducks that live somewhere warm and sunny year round, or it just doesn't get cold enough to freeze a bubble outside, I did see when I was researching this that there are ways to do this in your freezer. So I think what you do is you put a cookie sheet in the freezer and get it really cold, and then you carefully blow the bubbles onto the cookie sheet and they should freeze. But Google it, don't take my word for it, but know that there's a way for you to do this if you don't live in a cold climate. Thank you for joining us today. If you liked this video, please click the like button, subscribe, share our channel with someone who you think might enjoy it or might benefit from our ideas. And until next time, stay rooted.